What's up, gamers and geeks? Matt here with That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And in this video, I'm going to talk about State of Decay 3 so far. Obviously, the things that we already know, some of the things some of you may not know. But I will say that I first fell in love with State of Decay when the first one came out, and then it would come out with Year 1 Survival Edition, which was like Lifeline and Breakdown, and a bunch of the other add-ons. And then in 2018, State of Decay 2 would come out, and I'm telling you, Undead Labs, man, they continuously pumped out free upgrades and updated content and add-ons for that game, and it made it for a great experience. Now, I already love resource gathering, community building in zombie apocalypse survival games, but as far as the State of Decay franchise goes, that is par to none, above and beyond my favorite of them all, so stay tuned. It was as far back as 2020 when we first got that teaser trailer of the female survivor with her crossbow, and she was obviously struggling to survive in a snow biome. We saw the snow, and she stumbled upon what looked to be an undead deer of some sort, the undead animal. Now, there's been nothing to, collaborate any undead animals to be coming along in State of Decay 3 as of any recent hints, teaser trailers or whatnot. So it does leave one to wonder if there's going to be any animals, especially the undead animals, in that new world that Undead Labs will bring us. But if you are new here, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. Please like the video, help me in that algorithm you guys have been doing. Thank you so much for all the people that have jumped on lately. I sincerely appreciate you all, sincerely. And if you don't do any of those and you just catch some of the latest goss, some of the shit you already know, and some of the things you may not know about the upcoming State of Decay 3, thanks for joining. But before I get started on what we do know about State of Decay 3, I want to kind of express a slight concern. And the slight concern is that, we know that it was after State of Decay 2, that at some point Microsoft bought out Undead Labs. More or less bankrolling a little bit more money into what we can expect from State of Decay 3. We do know State of Decay 3 is going to give us a better co-op than State of Decay 2. From what I understand, State of Decay 2 was supposed to be a lot deeper with the co-op, with the community building together and whatnot, instead of just looting shite and opening doors and smashing zombies. It was fun for the first 5 minutes, but I think that they had a bigger ambition with this game when 2 came out. But now with Microsoft, here's where my concern is though. Now, I'm looking forward to the co-op, like playing with my wife, Mandy, like we do in 7 Days to Die. I'm looking forward to that. But the big concern is Microsoft themselves controlling this. Because you know as well as I do, Microsoft is behind the upcoming Fable release that we've seen. And it is getting ratioed and torn apart for a lot of good reasons. Now, Microsoft Studios, when it comes to Xbox Studios, I should say, who also has their hand in State of Decay 3, when it comes to the console wars, man, Xbox is in serious trouble right now. That's not an opinion, that's a fact, how bad they've come up short not only in the console wars, but their overall sales figures. And then when you couple that with them hiking the prices of the things like Game Pass and everything else that kind of goes along with the Xbox, Microsoft I'm scared for this game in the sense when it comes to Microsoft, not Undead Labs. 2 separate entities. Undead Labs is still overseeing what is coming out of it, but now that they're owned more or less by Microsoft, it does cause for concern because Microsoft wants you to add that progressive shit in there all over the place with the progressive pandering and the DEI, which does kind of cause concerns, raise alarm bells. Not so much with Undead Labs. Undead Labs is my all-time favorite company ever. No company has ever pumped so much product out to one game for free, and yet their fans bitched that it wasn't enough. From the 5 maps they ended up giving you, good size maps, to all the content that was added on from cosmetic changes with clothing and weapons and upgrades with, it was one of those things where I felt that the way Undead Labs look at us, Undead Labs looks at us as fans. Microsoft looks at us as customers. Make the distinction. There's a major distinction, and Undead Labs will always be my all-time favorite developing company. I'm kind of friends with a couple of the people within the studio. I've had them reach out to me, send me some free merchandise and stuff because I have a large Facebook page dedicated to the world of State of Decay. But anyway, yeah, so remember that. Make that distinction. To Undead Labs, we are fans. To Microsoft, we're mere customers. There is a distinction. And that is my only concern, is the fact that Microsoft is overseeing. Again, I will start with State of Decay 3 and the co-op that it's going to allow for much more than just jumping into someone else's world or their game, their map, more or less being tethered to some point. It wasn't what we wanted, and it left a lot to be desired in that regard. Now, you can find supplies, but you don't have your own vehicle to stuff them in. So when you go in and you don't have much of an inventory space, it's very linear on what you can pick up. You have to be very choosy whatever you can take back. Now, it did reward you for going into other people's worlds, but the co-op in State of Decay 3 is supposed to be, from start to finish, community building, base building, from the start to the finish. So let's say you have up to 14 members. Me and my wife will claim our favorite 7, and we'll run those, because like my wife is my favorite gamer to game with of all time. I mean, she's a good gamer. She's good at it. And, you know, so yes, the co-op world that we're expecting is supposed to be much bigger. That's the biggest thing. And from what I understand, it's to be up to 4 players, 4 friends, online, co-oping in one map, you know, building up your community. And yeah, we can also, from what we're so far, it's to be a larger world in this new game. Now, I don't know if there's going to be several maps. We do know that in State of Decay, the first one, you had Trumbull Valley. In State of Decay 2, you had Drucker County, Meager Valley, Cascade Hills. They added on Providence Ridge and brought back Trumbull Valley. And they did so much more for State of Decay 2 as well, turning it into a Juggernaut edition. You had Heartland. Then you have these curveballs. So guys, I don't care, you know, we as gamers are hard to please. That's been evident. But Undead Labs has not let me down. And I don't think they're going to let me down in State of Decay 3. Again, my biggest concern is Microsoft and having their main hand in the cookie jar of Undead Labs, controlling the way it goes, controlling the narrative. And when it comes to Microsoft and narratives, that's just a pending headache that does, you know, it justifies any fear that you may have. But as long as Undead Labs is overseeing what's going down the pipeline, I still think we're good to go. Very little has been revealed about the new location that we're getting in this new State of Decay 3 coming out. It does look to be very similar to a Trumbull Valley, but a lot of the whispers are it's a whole new area. Will they be various maps that they gave us in State of Decay 2, or will they give us one giant map and basically try to shut us gamers up? Not all of us were pissed off. I believe it was just 3 maps when SOD2 came out, and I was okay with that. Then they gave us Providence Ridge. Then they gave you Trumbull Valley back because people were bitching, we need a new map. Here, take it. There wasn't enough. I felt bad for Undead Labs, really, because going onto these social media sites and watching these people bitch for more, dude, they gave you so much shite for free. I mean, mellow out, man. But again, not much has been stated as far as the new location, what it's called, where it is. I want to also wonder if there's going to be more availability for base building than just the prefabs that we were able to choose. You know, obviously there was some warehouses to choose from, some, you know, you had a restaurant, like let's go to Drucker County. You had like a restaurant up on the hill. You had an old mini mall, you know, and it was the fort. I thought the container fort in Cascade Hills is probably my favorite overall. It was really creative. I may have to, you know, I've got a current group of survivors. I started in Cascade Hills, then I moved to Drucker. I might go back to Cascade Hills just to get that fort container again. Yeah, all the plague hearts will be there again, but hey, I'm down for that. We'll go into a little bit that we know as far as what we can expect from the multiplayer mechanics of it. Believed to have potentially new maps, plural. Now I say that even though I previously talked about could it be one giant map. Some of the whispers are that there could be maps plural. Now, I do know they're drawing a lot from Obsidian's Grounded game as far as what they're going to do when it comes to the multiplayer co-op aspect of that. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think that, Undead Labs was working on something heavy for the co-op for State of Decay 2, but it never came to fruition as far as what they wanted to do. So I think Obsidian took from Undead Labs, basically bought it, because they're collaborating with each other. And now I think that Undead Labs is going to reuse, I think it was a format originally created by Undead Labs that Obsidian used for the first Grounded, and now I think Undead Labs is coming back to use their original format for State of Decay 3. And, with Microsoft, they always want co-op. I mean, if there are some things of cosmetics, if there's extra things that you can purchase, even if it doesn't help, I will purchase it to support Undead Labs. I won't support Microsoft. I'll never support Microsoft in that regard because, let's be honest, that's what they're known for more than anything. There's also believed to be possible dynamic relationships and friendships in this. Now, this is a game that you can play solo. It just gives you the option to play up with 3 other friends from what I'm to understand. But you can play it solo, and they've hired on people within Undead Labs to work on the relationship aspect, be it friendships or romantic relationships. So you're going to have a tighter knit community, I think. You're going to have people being partial to one another with friendships and romances and whatnot. So expect something down the pipeline with State of Decay 3 to give you a deeper, more meaningful experience between survivors. So your community that you're going to be controlling is going to have a lot deeper meaning. So that's something to kind of look forward to. Now, within these relationships between survivors and romantic options are believed to be some morale boosts with each of these people, faster recovery with healing, and special buffs that may be granted for people involved in these community relationships, again, be it friendship or romance. So there's going to be bonuses to both parties that are involved in this friendship or romance. Again, you're going to believe to be faster recovery time if you're wounded, because you have more of a reason, you have more of a reason to want to get back out there, be alive, and protect the person that you love, and again, special perks offered as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction Undead Labs goes between the dynamics of 2 people within a community that have grown fond of one another. I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I also think that it'll allow for better overall character development with each member within the community having these specific relationships. It could be more engaging, meaningful impacts between the 2 people. If someone loses someone they're very close to, again, be it friendship or romance, are they going to take a bigger morale hit? I would think so, being as, you chose someone that you want to share a lot more with than the other people of the community. Gives you more of a reason to get out there, fight, stay strong, survive harder. So I think that when you lose someone close to you, I think you could be looking at a bigger gash in your morale overall. And the morale system has always been something I think that Undead Labs did really well at. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in State of Decay 3 with the morale system, because that could be very pivotal in the survival of an entire community. It looks like the zombies in this game are starting to evolve a little bit more too. If you see the screamer in the video that you've been watching, seems to be heat activated, almost as if there's fire within him that's, giving him the power to let out a scream and whatnot. So it could be tied to State of Decay 2's latest entries before they stopped adding on with the curveballs. So I'm wondering, I think the curveballs in State of Decay 2 are very much linking to State of Decay 3 and what we can expect in that. So, that's another thing to look forward to. And if you watch too, there could be possible weather patterns as the 2020 eventual teaser revealed. Obviously, you had snow. In this other one, if you see driving in the other video, the longer trailer with some gameplay in there, the gameplay looked pretty smooth. You can see wet roads, almost as if they've just gone through a torrential downpour of rain. And yes, so we could be looking at weather patterns. I'm kind of looking forward to that. You're definitely going to have a massive upgrade with the visuals, and the combat looked upgraded as well. But some of the things I'm hopeful for, some of the things I want to see, we'll start with that combat as I'm talking about. I want to see more. Do you remember in State of Decay 1 when you had like different varieties of martial art kicks? As a martial artist, I want to see more martial arts options in the game. You obviously we're going to be fighting other hostile survivors, so you get your knife, you got to go hand to hand. It's just like I want to see a martial art upgrade, kind of like the first one gave us. I think that I'd like to see a larger selection of ranged and melee weapons as well. State of Decay 2 did a really good job, in my opinion, giving you these options as far as these weapons are concerned. But I want to see, and I'm sure we'll get, because it is the newest entry, larger options with melee and ranged weapons as well. I think that there's something to really be said there. One thing I'm excited about, the fact is Coalition, the ones who worked on the engine for the Gears of War games, is also stepping in and working with Undead Labs to give us better mechanics when it comes to the combat, to the movement overall. So with Coalition working hand in hand with Undead Labs, the engine's going to be phenomenal because it will be on Unreal Engine 5. I think it's going to enhance the animation technology and the environmental activity all the way around. So kudos to Undead Labs for bringing in Coalition, who did the Gears of War. And then they're going to work more like Grounded when it comes to the co-ops that Obsidian, I swear to God, they took from Undead Labs, not vice versa. But I think that we're in for better combat mechanics and a better overall gaming experience, not only visually, but story. A lot of people had a problem with the story. And so more, that's pretty much what I hope to see, is a deeper story. But I was okay with State of Decay 2 and how they did it. It was basically left up for your 4 backgrounds: Sheriff, Trader, I'm drawing a blank, Warlord, and then you had one more, Builder, I believe. But anyway, so you got to revolve a linear story around each of those to become your leader. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much what I want to see. I'd like to see, again, martial arts. Martial arts needs to be in everything. But that's really all I had. Thank you so much for sticking with me this far. Again, my biggest concern is Microsoft being behind this, but we'll see. It is Undead Labs, so I still have a lot of faith in Undead Labs. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. Please like the video. Help me in that algorithm like you've all been doing. And if you don't do any of those and you just watch the latest on State of Decay 3, thank you so much. And to all you survivors and gamers out there, all love, and I'm outro.